Cincinnati 911, what is your emergency?
Every day, emergency services call handlers expertly deal with those in desperate situations.
When we pick up 911, you never know what type of call you'll answer.
Taking calls from terrified victims.
It is not a joke. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna bleed to death, I'm afraid.
No, you're not, sir.
To listening to cold-blooded killers.
My friend and I got into an altercation. I am the only one who came out alive.
Are you telling me you've killed somebody?
These are the stories behind the emergency call.
I can honestly say I could never have been trained enough for that call doctor.
With never-before-seen footage, we explore the real story behind the most shocking emergency calls.
My son fell in with a gorilla. He's dragging my son. I can't watch it.
What is the address to your emergency? Street Argument. What is it? 4th Street Argument. Please hurry. Problem. 5 minutes noted. Who abducted you? Sean, great. Where's he at now? Asleep. Where's he sleeping at? In the bedroom. I'm in the bedroom with them.
At 6 a.m. on the 13th of September, a woman called 911. She's called Jane Doe to protect her identity.
His name is Sean Great. Yes. What does he look like? Is he a white male or black male? Is he like 6 foot or is he shorter than that? 6'1", 6'2". Do you know how much he weighs? Probably 175. How is his hair? Brown.
Great. Grew up in Ashland County. He was a bit of a drifter. Didn't stay in one place very long.
Is it an apartment? No, it's a house. Okay, does he own the house? No, he broke into.
Jane Doe knew Sean Great. He had befriended her 2 months earlier.
Great was living out of the house that he had broken into, and he was headed over to the Salvation Army for a free lunch. She happened through the door at the same time he did, and while they were both signing in, he struck up a conversation. They were friends. They would meet a couple times a week to go for long walks and talk. She was interested in the Bible and would have discussions with him about Bible study. He also played tennis, and she didn't have anyone to play tennis with, so they would walk to the park and play tennis on occasion.
I would be okay. Is he still sleeping? Yes. Where did he take you from? My apartment. I was walking with him. You were walking with him? Where were you walking to?
On September 11th, Jane Doe and Great went for a walk and had been discussing a particular Bible passage that she wanted to draw to his attention. They came back to her apartment where she made peanut butter sandwiches. Then he had indicated that his mother had dropped off a bag of clothing for Jane Doe, and it was at his house. She brought her Bible along with her so that she could read the Bible passage to him. As she sat down, he became agitated. He reached over, ripped the book out of her hands, and began an assault that lasted 2.5, 3 days.
Is there any way you can get out of the building? I don't know without waking him, and I'm scared. Because he told me that he would do something to you? Yeah, because he had me tied up.
He would repeatedly sexually assault her. He was especially fond of forced fellatio, and he would also engage her in forced vaginal and anal intercourse. He would tie her up in ways that would contort her body, that would allow him access to sexually assault her, and telling her that he would kill her.
Are you injured? A little. Do you need an ambulance? Are you bleeding from anywhere? Not anymore.
Anytime she suggested that maybe she was done with either being sexually assaulted or wanting to leave, was met with escalating physical force. She was, in his opinion, prudish, and he was repeatedly assaulting her to introduce her to a sexual experience, and that in his mind she would like it. He had tied her to half of the bed and tied her legs and arms together, and then laid down next to her so that she was up against the wall. The restraints were now not as tight as they had been because Great was running out of material to tie her up with. He had been using old shirts and articles of clothing that he would cut, and he was now using things like towels and things that weren't as tight.
Are you tied up now? Well, yeah, but I kind of freed myself.
She was able to wiggle free and in the darkness find a cell phone.
Is he in the same room with you? Yes. Is it his phone you have? Yes. On the other way. So we have officers we're sending. Please look. Hey, if you're worried you don't have to talk, you can just set the phone down, okay? I just need to hear if the officers find you or not.
Several police cars had been dispatched and were making their way to the area.
You don't have to talk if you don't need to, okay? What? Just set the phone down.
Frozen with fear, Jane Doe went silent for almost 4 minutes.
There is a painful period of silence. One listens to that and thinks, if he were to wake up while she's talking to a 911 dispatcher, the next thing you would hear on that call is her being killed. And thinks, get there, and it goes on for a significant period of time.
Are you still there? Are you still there? What? Do you hear any officers outside? Okay, they're in the area.
As the police raced to the area, they were faced with 2 identical houses side by side. They had to pick the right one to enter and do it quietly. Get it wrong, and they'd risk the life of Jane Doe.
Are you upstairs or are you downstairs? We're downstairs. There's a door. There's a side door on the right of the left house. steps. When we enter access, immediately there's a kitchen right there, and then the bedroom is right off from the kitchen. Is there a padlock on the bedroom door, or is it just a regular lock? No, I don't even know if it's a lock. I have a knob, so can you get up and see if you can get out? I'm waking him. Is there a window around there you can look out? Yeah, but the floor squeezes right by his head. I'm afraid without making noise. Can you see out any windows? They're all curtains shut.
The house had a very eerie quality to it. Great had covered the windows, had blocked off and partitioned a portion of the downstairs from the rest of the house. So he had really walled off the entire house with the exception of half a living room that he converted into a bedroom, the kitchen, a small entryway with a bathroom off of it.
If you think you can get out, you need to get out. Unless they were right here. You would hear me just being strong.
There are two houses at that location, and they are identical. She is attempting to explain which house she's in.
Are you the house closest to the laundromat or the other one? Are you the one closest to the laundromat or the other one? We were standing in the laundromat looking at the two houses that would be on the left. You're looking out of the laundromat. So if you're looking at the laundromat, you're the one on the right. At the laundromat. Because if you're looking at the laundromat, you're the one on the left. Side door. The side door. The side door to the right. Here. Can you see them? He said push the door.
There was a chair propped up against the door to the bedroom, and she was able to exit through that door and come to the window.
You're out. Okay, can you get to the door where you can see out? Can you get out of the house? It's locked. Are you at the door? Yeah.
They were trying to be covert in their movements for fear that they would wake the suspect and lose the victim as they can see her.
Is there a window there? Yeah, I'm looking out and they tell them to come back. Hurry. She said to hurry up and come back.
The officer that had just been at the right door turned,
Yeah, they can see me if they come on it.
and when he turned, he could see a hand in the window.
It's locked. You can't get out. Okay, they have her.
Where is he?
I'm sleeping.
Still sleeping?
Yeah. I'm on her arms.
Unarmed?
Yeah.
You need to go. Here's the blanket. Well, you can't be in there. Here, cover yourself up.
That officer described her as being completely devoid of color, as though she had seen a ghost, and she was unable to speak at that point.
Tell me what happened. What happened?
Jane Doe was successfully rescued by Ashland police and taken to a nearby hospital to be assessed. With Sean Great in custody, police entered the building to begin their forensic searches. They were not prepared for what they were about to discover.
The crime scene technicians were on scene and began to excavate a pile of clothing in the corner of a bedroom. When they were able to uncover the clothing from the corner, they found a closet door that previously wasn't discernible. And that door had black tape around all of the edges. Within the clothing, they were finding fly larvae. And when they had opened the door, there was in fact more clothing, but a heavy fly infestation, and they began to excavate, which revealed the body of Elizabeth Griffin. On the evening she was killed, she went over to the house that Sean Great was at on Covert Court. So she was comfortable enough with him to come to the house. She went upstairs alive and was killed in the bedroom that had the attached closet where she was ultimately found. She was in an advanced state of decomposition. She was bound, naked, face first into the closet on her stomach, with her legs bound in a way that it exposed her genitals. The bindings appeared to be clothing, similar to what was described by Jane Doe.
As the forensic teams were searching the house, Sean Great was being interviewed by detectives.
Well, Elizabeth, right? It was kind of shocking, right? I was just joking. We were just joking, like how she wished she kind of would die, you know what I mean? It was like, so I'll help you. I just feel like this, you know what I mean? Like,
pushing forward and up at the same time.
Right, and she kind of just like whacked my hands and like started flipping out and stuff like that, to the point where I had to just like grab her and I just would lean forward and just press, you know what I mean?
Okay. All right, that explains that with Elizabeth.
She'd fall down.
You just kind of go down with her?
I laid her down and finished. And even after she stopped breathing, I held on.
The investigators entered the basement and noted the large pile of trash, and they began to excavate, and within that pile they were able to locate the body of Stacy Stanley.
I'm still thinking about this. What went wrong exactly with Stacy and I? Because I didn't have no thoughts.
Stacy had been out shopping and stopped by a gas station on her way home.
When she arrived at the gas station, she realized she had a flat tire. Great had been walking to another convenience store past there and noticed her. So he went up to her and began striking up a conversation. She had a flat tire and needed help. Family friend came along with some tools. Together, the friend and Great changed the tire, and when they had completed that task, the family friend left. And Great and Stacy then proceeded into the convenience store where she purchased a cup of coffee for him. When they left the convenience store, that was the last anyone had ever seen of Stacy Stanley.
But I do remember when she grabbed her mace and she missed me the first time. And then I turned her around, put her on the bed, right? And she did do this backhand and kind of got me.
Spray again?
Yeah, she sprayed me again. Damn. I just lost it. And then I just turned her around, right? Did pretty much the same thing. I just clenched on, did not let go. Just clenched. I just clenched, leaned back.
How'd you know to stop?
She went like this.
Jane Doe was lucky to be alive.
I don't think she could possibly have known that there was 2 bodies in that house. Maybe if she had known, she wouldn't have taken the opportunity when she did. I think he kept Jane Doe more than the rest because he had so much more invested in that abduction. He had planned it, he had fantasized about it, and he really wanted to get the most out of it. He wanted to live that.
Sean Great videotaped the abuse he inflicted on his victims.
For many, many serial killers, and he certainly has the profile of a serial killer. And their motive is very often sexual. So he would have been a sexual predator, and he would have spotted Jane Doe and thought, that is somebody who I am going to abduct, I am going to victimize.
I think Sean Great really embodies what we mean when we call a human being an animal. Everything he does is designed to gratify his own urges. He's a predator. He is probably 10 times worse than what we know of him now.
Cincinnati 911, what's the address of your emergency?
I'm at the Cincinnati Zoo and Aquarium.
Cincinnati Zoo?
Yes, the Cincinnati Zoo.
We're at Cincinnati Zoo. A baby fell in the...
Be calm! Be calm! Be calm! My son fell in the zoo exhibit of the gorillas. My son fell in with the gorilla. There's a male gorilla standing over him. I need someone to contact the zoo, please. Okay. He's dragging my son. I can't watch this.
Oh my God!
My family decided to go to the zoo, spend the day. We arrived about 11 o'clock. It was just a beautiful day. It was sunny and warm.
I'd only been to the Cincinnati Zoo one time. I was with my husband and my 2 older boys, and I was 6 months pregnant with my daughter, Rowan. We weren't at the zoo very long before we decided to just walk through the gorilla exhibit.
It's a big exhibit. We started at one end, and just as we were getting ready to exit, I saw Harambe. I saw his hand just barely peek out of the cave, and I'm like, oh, I gotta get a picture of this. I gotta wait till he comes out.
Harambe is a 17-year-old 450-pound silverback gorilla who was born in captivity. He is one of the zoo's star attractions, affectionately known as King Kong. It's hoped Harambe could be part of the zoo's breeding plan. Kim wasn't the only one interested in the gorilla. A 3-year-old boy was also keen to get even closer to Harambe.
At the time I was taking the picture, 5-6 feet away from me was the mother. The little boy, he was bantering back and forth. You know, I want to go in there, I want to go in there. No, you don't, no, you don't. She's trying to put another child in a stroller. No, you don't, no, you don't. Yes, I do, yes, I do, he says. No, no, you don't. Gets quiet. Again, I'm turned my focus towards the camera. I want to get Harambe coming out.
I was standing by another woman at not really a railing, more like a cable, and he went through, I think there were 4 strips of cable, and he had gone over, and so he didn't go through the bottom one. He literally like flopped over the 2nd, maybe the 3rd cable. I assumed that the woman beside me was the mother, but then she stated, whose baby is this? And so once she stated, whose baby is this, and I knew it wasn't hers, he was gone. He was on all 4s and crawled straight over into the moat.
The 3-year-old boy had crawled through the bushes and fell 15 feet into the moat of the gorilla enclosure, where Harambe came over and was sheltering him.
The mom is still busy. I can hear her. When I close my eyes, I can see her in my mind's eye, hassling with the stroller, talking with her friend.
Cincinnati 911, what's the address of your emergency?
I'm at the Cincinnati Zoo and Aquarium. There's a little boy that fell into the gorilla exhibit.
Cincinnati 911. Hi, we're at Cincinnati Zoo. A baby fell in the gorilla cage, and everybody's screaming. Cincinnati Zoo. And is Cincinnati Zoo a gorilla cage? It's a 3-year-old. He fell in it. He's in the water right now.
I hear the mom asking, "What does he have on? What does he have on?"
She looked at my husband and said, "Is he wearing green shorts?" And my husband had to tell her yes. And in that moment, I saw that mother just lose every ounce of control that she had. I mean, she turned white and was instantaneously ill.
Cincinnati 911.
Hi, my son fell in the zoo exhibit at the gorilla. Cincinnati Zoo, my son fell in with the gorilla. There's a male gorilla standing over him. I need someone to contact the zoo, please.
Okay, we do already have him started. We do already have him started there, okay?
Okay, be calm, be calm. Be calm. Be calm. He's dragging my son. I can't watch this. I can't watch.
Here, let me help you out.
Hello?
Can you see my eyes?
Yeah.
How old is he?
I need to call his dad.
My niece starts yelling, "He's in the moat, he's in the moat." And I literally turn around and Harambe was gone. He wasn't on. He wasn't on that edge. So I jumped up on the edge to look down, and at that moment he had the little boy.
Oh my God! Okay, everybody back up. I'll take you. I'm right here.
Everybody's got to calm down and quiet. Be quiet. Quiet. We're going to make them riled up.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, I need to know if this child is breathing. I need to know if they're face down in the water. What's going on?
Okay, there's security here and zookeepers are here, but the baby is still in the water and the gorilla had it. But it slammed it against the wall earlier.
The boy was sitting up, he was crying. We thought he was hurt. We couldn't tell how bad, and he went 15 feet down. But he's sitting up, and at one point it looked like he was gonna scoot away. Harambe pulls him back, stands him up. He was just looking for a different way to grab the boy.
Just to look in her eyes and know that once she realized that that was her son, she was scared and I was scared for her.
Okay, he's got the baby and it's still alive, but he's dragging him from one end to the other. Oh my God.
He starts reclimbing the wall 15 feet up. And as he's climbing, the boy is his back, his head, hitting the wall, as he's dragging him up. He gets to the top. At that point, I was sure that little boy was dead. But then, once again, he sits up. He sits up. You can tell he's weary. He's not really crying, he's whimpering.
Okay, can you, is any of the zookeepers next to you right now?
Oh God, he's got his pants. He's taking the baby.
Okay, ma'am, listen to me.
He's taking the baby into the cave. Oh my God.
At that moment, he takes the boy one more time and he starts to drag him over to a cave opening. But he stops, buries the boy between his legs, up against his chest. And it was at that time I heard someone, "Let's go, everybody." Let's go, everybody. Let's go. Let's get out.
I got police and fire coming. You said that the security and the zoo keepers are there.
And Cincinnati Fire Department just arrived.
All right.
No, you can't be here. Get out now. Oh, I was on the phone with 911 and they told me to escape.
It's fine. Go ahead. They're there now. And what's your name?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Right.
Ma'am?
This is 911.
When we hear the gunshot, you know, my kids were like, Mommy, is the gorilla okay? And I'm like, baby, I hope so. I hope so. Hopefully, you know, we hoped in that moment that they could have used a tranquilizer.
My brother said, well, that was a rifle. That was a rifle. Surely it was a rifle.
The child was rescued unharmed after zoo officials made the decision to shoot the gorilla, a controversial call still being debated nationwide.
Today, the boy's family released a new statement saying the child had a checkup with his doctor and is still doing well.
It was a miracle. He had concussion. He had bruises and scrapes.
Incredibly, the boy suffered only minor injuries. But the death of the rare western lowland gorilla ignited a massive outcry, with many accusing the boy's parents of negligence. However, when police interviewed the parents, they found no wrongdoing and chose not to press any charges.
It was a terrible, terrible, terrible tragedy for everyone.
What's the address of your emergency?
Help me.
What's the address?
4205 North Creel. Please.
Okay, what's going on there?
Just beating the shit on me, please. Please, help me. Please.
Who is?
My husband.
I was at a local gas station having a drink with another officer. A call came over the radio that 911 had received a domestic complaint. 2 units were dispatched. A few minutes later, another call came in.
911, what is the address of your emergency?
4205 North Creel.
Okay, 4205. Hello? Hello?
And they said that they had heard shots fired on the phone. That's when the other officer and I decided it would be best if we start that way.
I met Kelly when we worked together. We were both fairly new nurses, but she had a little bit more experience than me, and she just kind of took me under her wing and looked out for me. We've always had a lot of things in common, with both being single parents. Our boys were friends, and we became really, really, really close. Best friends. We were inseparable.
Hey, what's going on there?
My husband. He's got
Got what? What's his name?
Scott Johnson.
They met in the ICU. He was an anesthesiologist who would bring patients up to the ICU after surgery. He asked another doctor to introduce him to Kelly. Kelly wasn't really interested in him, but for some reason, when he asked her out, she accepted.
After 18 months of dating, Kelly accepted Scott's marriage proposal, and the wedding was set for the 4th of October 2014.
She was looking forward to the wedding. She likes events. She likes dressing up. She likes glitz and glam. She had 2 wedding gowns. Who does that? Kelly did.
A few months before the wedding, Kelly and her son moved into Scott's house. It was the perfect location for their wedding, but just before the big day, torrential rain hit the area and flooded the garden. And at the last minute, the couple moved their wedding ceremony to the Ohio building in town. But as their friends waited for Scott and Kelly to say "I do," only a few were aware of their toxic relationship.
Their relationship was chaotic from the start. He only seemed to care about her, but she is a mom, and he had no interest in her son. If he came over and her son was not in bed, he would get angry. He wanted her son to be in bed so that that time was exclusively theirs. That really bothered her. He was very controlling and always there, very jealous. She would be very upset, like all the time, about the things that he was doing. She was always distraught, always upset. There were very few instances when she was happy in their relationship, very few.
What's your address? I can't hear you.
4205 Creel.
4205 Creel Street.
On most 911 calls that come in, the address would pop up on our computer screens in dispatch. But this particular address was not populating on our dispatch computer.
What's the address?
4205 North Creel.
An address that we couldn't find on the maps, they couldn't find on their maps. Dispatch ended up pinging a cell phone through telephone towers and determining an approximate location of where she was.
Over their 18-month relationship, Scott's behavior became increasingly controlling and possessive of Kelly. The couple would routinely break up and then get back together.
One time, she was really excited about going to a party for the ICU. I was watching her son that night, and she came home. Couldn't have been 2 hours later, just brokenhearted, because he got drunk and was talking to her in the most degrading manner, groping her on the dance floor like she was a piece of meat. And she was just sick, just absolutely sick. She did sever ties with him after that. Scott reacted very badly, very badly. That only intensified the jealousy and the control and barraging of the texts and all of those things. She gave in, I think, a lot to keep peace. Her life was a lot more peaceful if she was with him than when she was trying to separate from him.
40. Okay, 4205. Oh my God.
The very day of the wedding, she told me that she was not going to sign the marriage certificate. She did not want to marry him. I was like, well, then why are you going? And she said, I just need to get through the ceremony, just let him have the ceremony, and then I can escape, basically. It didn't make sense to me. I didn't understand her logic. I don't think it was logical. But for some reason in her head, if she embarrassed him by calling off the wedding, that would have been worse. There would have been bigger consequences to her, which I don't know what that meant, but she felt like there would have been really drastic consequences had she not gone through with the ceremony. They got married in front of everyone, but then the marriage certificate was handed to me and she did not sign it. After the ceremony, there was a dinner. Then after that was the reception. I do not recall them being together at all.
Kelly and Renee were the first to leave the reception. Kelly needed to get her son to bed, and as Renee was staying the night, she also came with her. Shortly afterwards, Scott returned home with a few friends to carry on the party. His parents also came with him and went up to bed.
Scott, he was intoxicated. He drank a lot. He wasn't sloppy drunk, he could hold his liquor.
By midnight, Kelly and Renee went to bed. Renee slept in the basement, and Kelly went to check on her son and stayed with him for a while.
I was startled awake to him standing over me, screaming, "Get the F out of my house." I froze for a second. And he said, "Did you hear me?" I said, "Get the F out of my house." And he went upstairs. So I texted Kelly, "Are you okay? What's going on? Scott just came down here and told me to get out." And I didn't get any response. I went to the top of the stairs, and Scott was behind the bar. She was just white and looked more scared than I've ever seen anybody look in my whole life. I was like, "Come with me." And she just shook her head. And so I said it again. I said, "Come with me." And she just shook her head.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
Help me, please.
Okay, what's going on there?
He's beating on me, please.
Who is?
My husband. He's got guns.
We pulled into the driveway. The house was lit up. There was a white tent in the backyard. Knocked on the front door, and an elderly gentleman answered the door. We saw and smelled gun smoke, so we immediately drew our weapons and began to clear what we could of the house. And then he led us toward a bedroom. There's this body laying in a bed. There were blood spatters all over this little boy's back. He turned his head and looked at us just as we saw the body of a woman laying off to the right of the bed. We grabbed the little boy and whisked him out of that room as fast as we could. The other officers checked on the female and determined that she had no pulse, she had no respirations. She was in fact deceased. We asked Scott's father who was responsible, who did it, and he said his son.
On my way out there, I realized that I knew Scott Sampson. We were associates through our children. I could not imagine what was going through his mind that he may have committed such a terrible act. At the time, we did not know if Scott was still in the home. One of our concerns is that he had fled into a wooded area that was nearby. The back door on the home was open, and that was my main concern, was he out in that wooded area watching us, looking at us with a loaded firearm. I immediately had them ping Scott's telephone to see where his cell phone might be located. It pinged inside the residence. And I made multiple calls to his cell phone. I thought perhaps that he and I could have discussion, and I could perhaps call him out of the residence calmly, and none of those calls were answered. Scott's father had told us that after the altercation, that he had passed Scott in the hallway and asked what was going on. And as Scott retreated down into the basement, Scott made a comment that it's all over. At that point, we made the decision to go ahead and send in the SWAT team. As the SWAT team proceeded down into the basement area, we did see a body lying on the floor. They did notice that he had an extensive amount of bleeding from his head. There was a firearm laying there beside the body. We believed that Scott had retreated down into that basement and taken a gun and shot himself.
Kelly Ecker had been shot 6 times in her son's room by her new husband. Scott Sampson had shot himself once in the head.
I got a phone call at 5 in the morning telling me that she was gone. And I didn't believe it. I did not believe it. I wish I could understand what kept her with him. I don't. But as someone who's been in an abusive relationship, I know that there are irrational things that keep you in those kind of relationships. She had everything in her life pretty well together. She's gorgeous, she's a beautiful person inside and out, everybody loves her. She didn't love her. And it left her very vulnerable to a predator.